Hello, today we are exploring Microsoft Power Apps, a key product in the Microsoft Power Platform family. We'll quickly understand the difference between Canvas apps and model-driven apps, when to use each and how you can build them traditionally or faster using Copilot. Let's dive right in, where our Microsoft certified trainer Dalia will give you a comprehensive walkthrough.
Hello everyone, let's discuss about Power Apps today. So Power Apps is one of the product of Power Platform. Power Platform came into existence under the principle or under the tagline of low code, no code platform. That means using Power Platform, we can create wonderful business solutions either without using any code or with using less amount of code. So the advantage is that we can create wonderful business solution with less amount of time here because we don't use much code here, and hence we use some kind of a drag and drop interface or small formula like language to create business solution. Hence, we can create those solutions in very less amount of time. Similarly, we don't require skilled professionals to create such business solution. So this in turn reduces cost, and the skill gap which exists also gets reduced, or we find a solution for the skill gap as such. And the cost involved in, utilizing someone with a coding proficiency is also, that dependency is also not there. So hence, the cost involved is also less when it comes to having business solution created with less amount of code or without using any code at all. So with this kind of a power platform, we have the option to create business solution with less amount of time, with reduced cost, and also it helps us to reduce the skill gap or the issues with respect to the skill gap as such. And the products of Power Platform also helps us to improve the productivity aspect as such, because all the product of Power Platform will help us to boost our productivity at work. So one such product of Power Platform is Power Apps. So today, let's discuss the various aspects of Power Apps, such as what are the kind of Power Apps which are available, how we can create various different types of Power Apps, and then which method would be best among the methods which we can use to create a Power App. So now here you can see these are various products which is from Power Platform. So one is Power BI, second is Power App, third is Power Automate, four is Power Copilot Studio, and the fifth one is Power Pages. So now when it comes to these products, each one will serve different types of business solution. So here, when it comes to the Power BI, for example, it helps in business analytics in creating wonderful business solution. So when it comes to the Power App, it majorly focuses on application development. And these applications which we are developing using Power Apps is mainly, we call it as business application, or in short, we call it as biz apps. So these applications, we also call it as internally facing, which means the Power Apps which we create is mainly for the organizational requirement. So hence we call it as internally facing. That means it is not for external customers, but rather it is internally facing, or it is for internal organizational purposes. Now we also have other products such as Power Automate, which is for workflow automation. Copilot Studio is for creating virtual agents, and Power Pages is for creating websites. But now, as per our today's topic, we are going to discuss about Power Apps, different types of Power Apps, how we can create various type of business applications using Power Apps, and which method will be the best among the methods to create the Power Apps. Now, in order to support all these products in Power Platform, we have some supporting components as indicated here, which is Dataverse, data connectors, and AI Builder. The Dataverse is nothing but the foundational database of Power Platform, which supports various type of business scenarios, and it is a relational type database. This supports all type of Power Platform products. Similarly, we can use data connectors to get connected to various data sources so that we can extract data from these third-party services using the connectors. And if you wanted to infuse AI capabilities into any of the Power Platform products, we can make use of AI Builder also. The AI Builder will help you to get connected to various Azure AI services so that you can infuse AI capabilities into the Microsoft Power Platform products. So these are some of the supporting components of Microsoft Power Platform. So today we will see how Power App is beneficial and what are the type of Power Apps and what all could be the supporting components of Power Application and how you can create the Power App and what are the different types of methods to create the same and which one will impact the most, right? So these are the things which we are going to see today. So let's get started. So here you can see there are two different types of Power App, and one such Power App is called as Canvas apps. Okay, so Canvas apps, as you can see, will help build, custom applications, right, using various different Excel and PowerPoint skills. So it will help you to get connected to data and systems, which we may be using, already, right? And without writing code, we can also create forms, workflows, etc. And we can use apps on any device, even though it is web or mobile. So it is not only for a laptop or it is not only for a tablet, but for any kind of devices, we can have Power App created. So Canvas app is one such kind of application or one type of Power App wherein you can build business applications across the platform, right? Using basic skills of Excel and PowerPoint in such a way that we use a particular formula which is called as Power FX formula. So this particular formula language will help you to create some logic when you design a Canvas application. This is one type of Power application. Similarly, we also have another type of Power App, which we call it as model-driven application. So here, we again can create wonderful business application without writing code. So here, the specialty is they are component-focused app, and we can create them without using any code. We can add some kind of a logic to it and we can also add some kind of a business process flow to model the business processes as well. And when it comes to the model driven application, its design is by nature responsive. That means we can create a model driven application and we don't have to worry about the type of device which we are using, but rather it will play around safely with any type of devices for that matter. That means it will align itself by nature in mobile phone, in tablet device, as well as in desktop. So now let's see some of the key differences between these applications. The key differences between the two type of Power Apps, that is Canvas application and model driven application, let's explore now. Because before diving deep into creation of these things, we need to understand the difference between Canvas application and model driven application. So when it comes to a Canvas application, they are called as task based application. So as a user, if you have any task to perform, if you can easily perform the task using an application, then that is how we create or we make use of Canvas application. So here in Canvas application, we have complete control over the UI UX of it. So whoever is creating a Canvas app will have complete control over the UI or UX of the Canvas application, and it is mainly used to perform your task, or we can say it is a complete task based application, and you will have the complete control over the UI UX aspect of it. So as the name suggests, the entire canvas is yours, whoever is making it, and you have the complete control over what button to add, what kind of a screen to use, how many number of screens are required, what kind of a logic to be used to navigate from one screen to another, and all those things will be decided by the creator of that. So in short, when you're creating a Canvas application, the entire canvas is yours and you have the complete control over the UI or UX aspect of it. So another speciality of Canvas app is, as we suggested earlier, it uses PowerFX formula, which is a formula language in Power Platform, which is similar to the Excel formula to create any logic in Canvas application. And Canvas application also allows you to get connected to multiple data sources. So it doesn't restrict you to get connected to any one data source, but rather it allows you to get connected to multiple data sources. So that is also one of the advantage of your Canvas app, or one of the speciality of your Canvas app. And often you can actually get to choose which kind of a device you want to design. And that way also you can work around creating a Canvas app. But of late, they have added the responsive feature also to the Canvas application. So as we have mentioned, it is a task-based application. We can just take an example of applying for leave. So if you wanted to simply apply for a leave as a user, you may, create a Canvas app in which you can just open a form, and within that form you will fill all the details of your leave application, and with a click of a button you will, submit the leave application. So it is a simple task for you to see or for you to fill, right? And in which you will give all your own data, and then you will just, with the press of a button, you will just apply for a leave. So that's an example of a simple task which you can create, you know, And for that particular task, you will utilize an application which we call it as a Canvas application. Similarly, if you want to say order for some machine, okay, or if you wanted to order some device, suppose you will just open an application. In that you get to see a few machine details, and you analyze the details of the machine, and you just zero in on one of those machines, and you just place an order for it. So that is also a simple task which you can perform as an example for the Canvas application, and that can be easily done with a task-based application called as Canvas app. Now let's see what are the features of model-driven application. So when it comes to the model-driven application, here it plays out based on the underlying data model which you create. So as you all know, data model is something like you create a model of the data, maybe by using different tables, right? You may have table number 1, table number 2, and so on. And you connect those tables using some relationship, and you model a data, or you create a data model for any particular business use case. So the model-driven application always will depend upon the underlying data model which you create for a business use case. But here, one of the peculiarities is that the data model which you create for model-driven application should reside within your Dataverse. So the Dataverse being the foundational database of Power Platform, for model-driven application, your data model or your data has to be within Dataverse, wherein we have already seen that Canvas app will allow you to get connected to multiple different data sources, whereas model-driven application, if you're creating, the underlying data model or the data has to be part of Dataverse itself. And another peculiarity of model-driven application is that you don't have the complete control over the UI or UX here. Because here, what kind of a data model you put up, accordingly, the application will play out. That means we call the model-driven application as component-focused app. So why we call it as component focused is based on the data model or based on the table, what are the kind of components you add, accordingly the model driven application will play out. For example, as a part of a table, you may add some kind of a form to it, you may add some kind of a dashboard to it, you may add some kind of view to it using the tabular columns and other details of your table. So these are some of the components, which is part of your data model. And when you add such components to the model driven application, according to these components, the model driven application will play out. Hence, we call model driven application as component focused, and the underlying data has to reside in Dataverse. And one more peculiarity of model-driven application is generally we use model-driven application for backend processing. So Canvas application is a general simple task-based app wherein if you are a user and you wanted to create an application, or if you wanted to apply for a leave, if you wanted to report a problem, or if you wanted to order for a device as a user, it will generally have the facility to do so. But when it comes to the model driven application, it is generally used for backend processing. So suppose if you are an asset manager in your company and you wanted to manage the entire asset of your company, then in that case, you would want to know the entire organizational data with respect to the assets so far. So you may want to see all employees, asset request, how many assets have been returned, what is the statistics of your assets, and so on and so forth of the employees. So in such case, the entire organizational data would be required and you would want to analyze them properly so that you can manage the assets of your organization very well. So in such circumstances, you can actually make use of model driven application because generally it is used for backend processing. So if you have some kind of business processes, if you want to create a backend processing based application, you can always go for creating a model driven application. But if you would prefer to go for a simple task or role based application, you can always go with your Canvas application. Now, one more aspect of model driven application is that we can have the design as responsive. So that means it actually plays around as per any of the devices. That means you don't have to specify for which kind of a device you are designing the model driven application, but you just have to design it and it will play out seamlessly with any type of devices, may it be a laptop, may it be a desktop, or may it be a mobile devices. So these are some of the key differences between two type of Power application. One is your Canvas application and another one is your model driven application. So thus we have seen the differences between Canvas and model driven application now, in which the Canvas app is mainly a task based application with multiple data sources. You can connect, and we use PowerFX formula for logic over there, and you will have the complete control over the UI UX aspect and so on. When it comes to model driven application, it is completely driven by the underlying data model, and your data model has to be within Dataverse, and it plays out based on the components which you add under the data model, such as forms, dashboards, views. Accordingly, it will play out. And generally, Canvas application is used for any front-end purposes wherein you would want to apply for a leave, report a problem, or order for a device, and so on. Wherein model-driven application you will use for back-end processing type of requirement, wherein you would want to manage the entire asset of an organization, or if you wanted to procure devices of all the employees of an organization, and so on and so forth. And model driven application has always been quite responsive, right, traditionally, whereas Canvas app, you have the option to choose the kind of device for which you can actually design. Traditionally, when we see how the Canvas app can be developed, we generally go for the approach of dragging and dropping various features onto it and using different types of controls, formula, etc. from a blank canvas. So here we can see we are in make.powerapps.com, and let's look at the way in which we can create a new Canvas app, especially with the traditional approach. So here you can see you have the option to start with Copilot, start with data, start with a page design, start with an app template, etc. So let's first see start with the page design, and from where we can go to create from blank. So here we may choose either responsive design, tablet size, or font size. So let's choose tablet size as of now. So now when you choose the tablet size, it will open up in the size of a tablet, and we will be able to edit the Canvas app from scratch in the Power App Studio. So here what we will see is in the editing canvas, we can choose all the components one after the other, and we can build the Canvas app. So here you can see this is the canvas. Left hand side you have many different options, And on the top ribbon also, you can see multiple options. On the right hand side, you can see the properties options. So traditionally, when we develop a Canvas app, so it just opened up the screen number 1, right? And which is a blank canvas. So now if you would like to rename the same, we can just rename maybe it as welcome screen. So here everything we do one by one as per our wish. So now if you would like to insert a text label, this is how we can insert. So I'm just dragging it towards the right, and whatever is the label which you would like to give, maybe you can just drag and drop to the end of the Canvas application, to end of the Canvas app, and you can keep the title, and in the text you can give the title whatever you wish to give. Maybe if you wanted to keep it as a device ordering app, something like this, then whatever text you have written there, it appears here in the Canvas app. Now if you wanted to change the properties of the same, here on the right hand side you have the option to maybe align it center, and if you would like to keep the font as say 24, you can keep it. And if you would like to change the background color or the fill color of the title, you can do it here. So this is how you can actually insert a title label. So this way we have many different options of adding different things. So you can just go to this insert button, and under the media you may also choose some kind of a image. This image you can either you choose any kind of a URL to place an image over here, or if you would like to upload any image also, you can do that, or you can just choose from any of the images on a random basis from the stock images, etc. So any relevant picture or image which you would feel suitable for the given application, you can actually choose and you can add it over there. So the image appears on top of the Canvas application. So if any company specific logo or anything, if you wanted to add, you can definitely add it over here. Similarly, you may add multiple screens also, and you can actually rename each and every label which you are adding here. So here this is image 1. If you wanted to just rename it as maybe logo, generally you may use some logo, you can rename it and keep. And the renaming will be very useful in the sense that if you wanted to revisit it at a later point of time, you can do so. Same way this is for title. So likewise you can rename and keep. Now if you would like to add another screen, you can press new screen here and the new screen appears. So this screen, if you would want to use it to a specific purpose and you wanted to give it a name, you may give it this way as well. And if you wanted to give a title to it, right, text label, then you can go ahead and edit it. So that will appear there. And again, if you wanted to drag it and stretch it to the full screen, you can do the same. And you may change the properties using the right hand side pane. So generally we would expect to have a font which may be a bigger one, and it can be middle aligned. And again, if you would like to change the fill color, we can change the same as well. So this appears to be the title of the next screen, and you can just go ahead and save it here. We may give app a name, maybe device ordering app, and just press save. So the app gets saved here. Now again, suppose from the welcome screen, you wanted to navigate it to detail screen. So in that case, maybe you can insert some kind of an icon to it, right? So that using the icon, you can navigate it to the next screen. So let me pick a right arrow. which will indicate that you will be able to navigate to the next screen. So now the arrow is placed over here, but if you have to navigate it to the next screen, you will have to include a power fx formula for the same. So here you can see, you can here choose this property as on select property, which indicates upon selection of this particular arrow, it should perform a certain function. So what function or what formula we have to use, we have to give here. So that is nothing called as, it is, the power fx formula. So now I'm just giving the function as say navigate, and where you would want to navigate, you have to give the screen information. So I'll just mention it as detail screen, and I'll close the brace. So this is how we can include power fx formula in the Power App. So now upon selection of this particular arrow, it has to navigate to detail screen. In case of any errors, it will show in this particular icon, which is known as the app checker. So now let's save this particular application, and under the play mode or the preview mode, we will be able to see it in action. So when you press here, see, it's navigating it to the second screen. Now similarly, you may include in the detail screen, if you would want, you can actually include another icon probably, which could be a left arrow, and that would also indicate, maybe we can include a back function to it. Okay, so let's include a back function, so which indicates that again if the properties on select, right? So here upon selection of this, it has to go back. So if you wanted to change or rename, we can always change it here. Okay, like this, this has to lead back to our welcome screen. Okay, so now let's save it and once again test the functionality. When I press the play mode, if I press here, it comes to the second screen, and if I press here, it goes back to the first screen. So this is how we can add functionality to our particular Canvas app when you go with the traditional approach of designing a particular Canvas app. Now similarly, we can also insert different type of gallery, and upon selection of something in the gallery, we can just use some logic to move from one screen to the next screen and so on and so forth. For example, if you wanted to add some kind of a vertical gallery. So vertical gallery will display the data of a table or any file which you have, and it will display the data one after the other. So you may choose any kind of connectors. Either you can use any kind of Dataverse table, or you may choose any kind of connectors for the same. So now if I just press on connectors, I can just go for say import from Excel. Right, I can import some data from Excel. So now if you have some Excel data, right, you may choose some kind of an Excel file, and from that file, if you would like to take any data source, you can actually choose the same as well. Okay, so from the data source, if you wanted to choose any kind of a connectors, you can do so. Now we have to choose the data for this. So we'll just go to this particular vertical gallery, and then we'll have to include the data for the same. So we may use maybe connectors, and we can choose say import from Excel. And then I'll choose an Excel sheet for that. And then whatever are the, in this particular sheet, I have two, the Excel sheet, I have two Excel sheets like sheet 1 and sheet 2, which, has machines and machine types as the name. So I'm just connecting that, and Now let's drag this gallery like this, and the data within that should appear here as a vertical gallery. So now I'm connecting Excel sheet here, and the data source, I just took it as, maybe we can take it as machines or machine types. So let's choose it as machine types. So now the layout we can choose here, and number of layouts are there. So as of now, it's in image title and subtitle. Now, based on the names which we have given in this particular Excel sheet, we have to use the formula for each and everything. So now for this image, I will pick up the formula. This item dot photo. So this indicates the name within the Excel sheet, and hence the photo, in the Excel sheet we have the URL of the photos, and hence the photo appears here. So now with this edit button, you can actually drag and drop, and you may adjust the images as well. As per our convenience, we can edit those things. Similarly, on the right hand side, we can actually choose what could be the format you wanted, or if you wanted the layout to be, what are the things to be, is required, right? And the wrap count, what you want, and all those things you can decide from the right hand side also. Now, if you just wanted to adjust those things, you can simply adjust it like this. You can just use this way, and using the edit button, you can in fact drag and drop, as well as place the images in a proper manner. So this is how maybe we can add the vertical gallery into your Canvas app. Similarly, you have the option to add horizontal gallery as well, so that the data will appear in a horizontal fashion. So here again, you have to give the, this is your horizontal gallery, and you may have to give the data source there, and you can just drag this and place it like this. Okay. So now let's just drag it like this, and let's pull it up like this, and this will get adjusted this way. So now if you wanted to have the wrap count to be 2, you will have more machines which you can display over here. So this is again from the next sheet number 2 of the same Excel sheet. Again, you can give the name, this item dot say photo, right? So the photo of the machines should appear like this. Now again, you can use the drag button to drag those things and edit the sizing and other things as per our wish. So if you want, more things to be displayed, maybe you can just adjust the width like this. Now similarly, whatever you want. So this is like, now you can see gallery 1, gallery 2. So if you wanted to rename, you can rename. Now this is subtitle and this is title. So maybe this item title, you can just modify it as, say, a machine name or something like that. So the machine name appears here. Similarly, subtitle 3, you may change it to this item dot average espresso per week or average cups per week, something like that you can change. So finally, you may adjust the size, width, everything, so that things are displayed properly, and you may just adjust those things so that the names of all those things appear properly. So now you can save the application and you can play out. So this way you can traditionally design the application and whichever formula you want to use to choose, select, and finally maybe you can even include things to order the device after choosing the particular models from here as well. Same way, if you would want to go to the next screen, if you wanted to add some kind of a form to it, you have the option also. So you may add any kind of a form by using the edit form feature and using which table you wanted to have a form added, that also you can choose. So using a particular Dataverse tables form, table, you can have the form of that to appear in this particular application. Okay, so this way you may design or you may decide to have a form added into your application as well. Okay, so it's taking some time. So let's see how it will add the form of a particular Dataverse table. So now in this particular case, the table which we are planning to add is the table of machine orders. So this kind of a form, if you add, right, you can actually place an order through that. Maybe by using a button press, you can make the form to, you can fill the form and with the press of a button, maybe you can place an order to the particular table. So this has the details of that particular table in the form of a form. So now you may save it and using the properties pane, you can actually, and adjust things if you would want to do any kind of a adjustment to the same. So now when you select this, if you what could be the default mode you want and things like that, and you may add any logic using different formula as well. So you can save it, you can play it, and you can see the form here. You can fill it out and things like that. So you can do multiple things in this way. So as of now, what we have seen is we have gone to the Power App Studio and using the traditional method of developing a Power App, we have developed a Power App. So here the speciality is that we have done every process by adding the features one after the other on every screen, and even the formula, everything we have added manually. So this is how we can actually design a particular Canvas application in the traditional method. Now that we have seen the traditional method of creating a Canvas app Power App, let's now check how we can do the same with Copilot. So start with Copilot, and here you can describe what kind of a table you want first for the base of the Canvas app. So let's just type create a table for say project management, something like this, and let's press on generate. So the ChatGPT, the Copilot will take some time to create the table. So it might create, one or more table. So if you would wish to keep only say one table, here you can just press and you can just decide to have a one simple table. You may have multiple tables also. So we can just choose to have the number of tables you want. So see, now it has become one table. So now when I click here, and here you have view data option. So it gives columns such as project name, start date, end date, status, widget, etc. So now we are able to see all these things, and if you would wish to remove anything, you can wish. If you would want to add anything, you can do all that you can do. Now suppose if you are satisfied with this particular table, you can just press here. So using the Copilot itself, you can do multiple changes to the application if you want. So as of now, we have seen the data, and if you feel that it's all fine, then here we can go and we can save and open the app. So here we have the option either Canvas or model driven application. And as of now, we are just going to open it as a Canvas application. So now my app is getting opened up, and let's see how it will play out. So as we have already seen that in Canvas application, right? In Canvas application, we will have the screens, everything, or UI UX, which we can customize based on our interest. So if you're using the Copilot, we can ask the Copilot to create and customize for us based on the text prompt. So hence, once you start with the table, the Copilot will help you to create the application, and it opens up in the studio wherein you can perform the editing also if you would wish to edit. Okay. So now you can see here, there is a project screen added, there is a container added, and yeah, so there could be multiple containers and other things which is getting added. So now this is the application which is created. And if you wish to do any changes, or if you wanted to add a text label, add a gallery, add a button, add an email screen, etc., you can perform the same using the Copilot text also. For example, if you press add a button will appear here. So likewise, using the text prompt itself, we can actually try to create. Yeah, so here one button will be added, and the Copilot will ask you whether you want to keep it or not. So you can ask it to keep it. Similarly, you may do multiple such things with respect to the Copilot, right? So now if you wanted to add some kind of a functionality to it, you can add those things. And if you would want to change some properties, you can use this properties pane on the right hand side, and you can do so. And now if you would want to add a new screen, you can add. And if you wanted to give some functionality to the button to navigate or something, you may perform all those things. So now we have a Canvas application created by the Copilot here. And let's just save this, and let's give a name, something like something like a project app you can give. And let's just press on the play button here. Okay, so the app gets played out like this. So now if you click on any of these details, you get the complete detail information of the project based on the budget, end date, project name, etc. You get the option here. Okay, and if you would want to add any new, you can add here. And if you wanted to edit anything, you can edit here. Okay, so suppose if you want some kind of an editing over here, you can edit here, and you can press the tick mark so that the budget gets changed here, right? So similarly, if you wanted to add a new data, you have the option to add over here, and you may choose any detail. So maybe give any name, etc. And then once everything is fine, you can add this new data to this particular list of projects by adding the submit button. So the new entry has is present here. So likewise, you can just press any of these data, and the details of which will appear here. You can edit and delete the record using the edit delete buttons over here. So this is an easy and simplest way of creating any particular Canvas app using the Copilot. So compared to the previous one, compared to the traditional method, we can see that this particular way of creating the Canvas app is much simpler. because in traditional method we do everything by step, adding the titles, formula, everything one after the other, and then we get the fully functional app, which takes some amount of time. But here we have seen that using the Copilot, using simplest of simple, the text prompts, we can create the Canvas app in a easy and better manner. So this underlines the usage of Copilot in creating the Canvas application. Now that we have seen the creation of Canvas app with Copilot, we can also explore how an application can be created, which is of model-driven application with Copilot. So we can just press on start with Copilot and we can give a description of the table we want to build. So let's just create a table for device procurement. So let's create a table for device procurement. So then it helps you to generate a table. So we may decide if you would want to have one table or if you would want to have multiple tables. So yes, so supplier and device procurement, it has created two tables. If you want to create having two tables is fine, let's have it. Otherwise we can actually use the icon to have it as one table. Now if you just click here on supplier and if you would press on view data, we will get the sample data here. And if you press on device procurement and if you see the view data, you will get the details over here. So now here you can see the option save and open a app, and you can choose it to be model driven application. So this time we are actually trying to create a model driven application. So we tick marked on model driven app and now save and open the app. Okay. So it's opening the application. So let's give a name. And let's create. So the app is getting created, and this time it is of model driven application type. So as per the instructions given to the Copilot, it creates an application which is of model driven type. So as mentioned, model driven application plays out based on the forms and based on the views, right? So we just gave an information to the Copilot and see it created two tables, supplier table as well as device procurement table. And we have the supplier view, supplier form, as well as device procurement view and device procurement form. So now let's just, preview. Okay, publish and continue. So now let's play out the application. So here, let's see suppliers. We have a number of suppliers. So when you click on the view of the suppliers, it will take you to the form of the suppliers here. Similarly, you can just enter new data here if you would wish to. If you want, you can add the new name and save the same, right? It will appear in the list of suppliers there. So similarly, you have device procurement view, and if you click on that, the form will appear. And if you would wish to add any new device name, you can actually add the same here, and you can save and close, which will appear in the list of the device. You can see here. So this way we have various forms and views which is getting added into model driven application, and you can see a number of information about the given devices and things like that. So now you can see the difference. The model driven application plays out in a different manner with your views, forms, etc. And the Canvas app plays out with your the UI UX which you have added to it. But here it is more of a data model based. But the advantage here is that we have now created model driven application using Copilot, and we have also seen how the Canvas app is getting created using the Copilot. In both the cases, usage of Copilot is quite advantageous in the sense that we can create the application in a faster manner compared to the traditional method. Hence, usage of Copilot can be very useful in Power Platform, especially with respect to Power App. And we have seen both the ways of creating a traditional based Power App as well as creation of Power App using the Copilot. And we can understand that creation of a Power App using Copilot is very faster, simpler, and you can accomplish it with the text-based prompt.
Today, we saw how Power Apps helps you build business applications quickly with little to no code. Whether you need full design control with Canvas apps or data-driven approach with model-driven apps, and especially with Copilot, building apps is now faster and simpler than ever. Thanks for watching and see you in the next session. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel.